Well, we will go ahead and get started. We would like to welcome the winner of the 2023 John Deere Classic, Sepp Straka. Sepp, congratulations on your victory today. Very convincing 9 under 62 to get the job done in the final round, especially given I've heard everybody talk a lot about where you started from after round one. So just amazing. Just a few opening thoughts on how it feels to collect that win.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like you said, I didn't think I'd be sitting here on Thursday after the round, and just found some magic and started hitting the ball really good, which I did on Thursday too, but really started making some putts, and I think that's a key out here. You got to get the putter hot, and thankfully it stayed hot.
Was there a big difference today? Did you find something yesterday? Was it a mindset, or was just things just kind of go your way today?
A little bit of a tweak in the setup. My toe was getting up a little bit. Tim Yelverton, who I work with on putting, texted me on Thursday night and said my toe was sticking up a little bit, so just got the hands a little higher, flattened that thing out, and yeah, started online and got hot.
And one last question for me, and then we'll open it up for questions. With the win, you moved to 18 in the FedEx Cup, 27 in the official world golf ranking. What does this do for you? You may not have had a chance to fully process it yet, but what does this do just kind of with your mindset as you're looking forward to the big part of the season coming up?
Yeah, it's great. It's always good to be playing good golf towards the end of the season. One of the big goals is always to make it to Atlanta, and this is a big step towards that. And hopefully I can build off of this and just keep it going.
Okay. Well, we'll take some questions. Start with George.
Your fellow Bulldog, Brendan, and Alex both had very high praise for your round, and why not? You shattered a 41-year record for a closing round here that was held by the late Payne Stewart. Don't know if you're aware of that.
Did not know. No.
How exciting is that?
It's pretty exciting. Yeah, I knew somebody was going to make a push today. The birdies are out there. The wind was down a little bit compared to yesterday, and yeah, thankfully I had a really good ball striking day and had a hot putter going. So I just tried not to think about any of the situation too much because I was so far ahead of the leaders, and just try to keep making birdies.
What does it feel like to finish early and go to the driving range and wonder for a while?
It's stressful. It's very stressful because at that point it's out of your hands. You know, when you're on the course, obviously you're really nervous, but you have control of the situation, and then when you're just sitting there, you kind of feel helpless. So once I got on the range and started warming up for a potential playoff, I started feeling a little better, and yeah, thankfully didn't need that playoff.
Sepp, how quickly were you able to throw the 18th hole out of your mind while you were waiting? That seems to be the kind of thing that would just hang over a guy.
Pretty quickly, you know. I hit one bad shot. Honestly, after that, the recovery, the wedge shot was great after that shot into the green. Hit a really good number and hit a really good putt and just broke a little more than I thought. So, you know, I gave myself a lot of grace there because that was my only real bad shot of the day. So, yeah, I didn't dwell on it too much.
Greg?
You mentioned in the TV interviews that you weren't focused on the Holy Grail there, the 59, when you were standing in the fairway. Not a thought ever
No,
today?
It popped in my mind for sure, yeah. But I wasn't going to change my game plan or strategy for the 59. The goal was still to keep the same game plan and try to finish and win a golf tournament. So as fun as a 59 would be, I think winning the golf tournament is always more fun.
Did you feel like you needed a birdie to close it, or were you
I didn't know. You know, I was so far ahead of the leaders. They had so many holes to play. Somebody could have gotten hot. I had no clue. I was just trying to hit my target, hit my number, and just made a bad swing on 18, but then recovered nicely and unfortunately missed the putt. But yeah, I didn't really know.
to be at 11 under with 17 in front of you? What were your expectations after you reached that figure?
Yeah, the goal on 17 is always to make birdie, especially with that pin. It was pretty gettable. I hit a really good drive off the tee. The wind was off the left, so just to keep it in the first cut there was really nice. And then made a really good swing on my second shot that just kicked right into the bunker. Decent bunker shot, and just hit a good putt and misread it a little bit. But yeah, like I said, I was just trying to execute the game plan.
Okay, last one for me. Do you really have to pay for the house now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're not letting me off the hook there.
And how much is that house going to go for on Airbnb next year, right? Two
I don't
two
know.
for two, huh?
I don't know. I hope JT went ahead and renewed before this. So.
Sepp, how do you envision celebrating this victory, and who are you most excited to share this big day with?
Definitely my wife. Excited to get back to her. And yeah, tonight, I don't know, just through the media, I have no idea. My agent is here, so I'm sure he's planning something for me. But yeah, to get back to my wife would be great.
And how about your weekend here, just the feeling with the fans here and the whole setup here at TPC Deer Run?
It's amazing. It's been here for so long. They've got it down. They run such a good event. The golf course is in great shape. The volunteers are all extremely helpful, and just one of the more smoothly run events on tour. And yeah, look forward to coming back.
Craig?
Sepp, you were born in Austria, but you grew up in Georgia, and you sound more Georgian than Austrian.
Only when I'm speaking English.
Yeah. Are you more of a country music fan than you would be of Beethoven or string music or Austrian?
Probably. Beethoven's a little bit before my time, but I'm more of a Mozart guy for picking there. But yeah, I listen to that too. But yeah, probably more of a country music than the classic.
But music notwithstanding, the time you've been in Georgia since you were 14 years old, went to Georgia. Are you as an American as you are Austrian in a sense?
I used to say I'm 50% Austrian, 50% American, and a friend of mine who's Austrian, Clemens, corrected me one day and said, you're 100% Austrian, 100% American. So yeah, there's no, you can't really pick between the two. I'm part of, they're both part of my my upbringing, and yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world.
The 100% Austrian could be competing in the Ryder Cup in Europe. Is that a thought now with this victory in hand?
Yeah, I mean, September's a few months away, and I'm glad my game's in good shape. So hopefully I can make a push for that.
George?
In your wildest dreams, did you ever anticipate being a widely successful opening act for Blake Shelton?
Is that what they're all here for? I didn't even know he was playing, to be honest with you. I knew there was a concert. I didn't know it was Blake Shelton. So, yeah, might have to hang around for a little bit. Yeah.
What was going through your mind when you're standing over the approach shot on 18, the second shot on 18? I mean, you say you weren't thinking necessarily 59, but what was going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, I was just trying to hit my target. We had picked out a good number, and I think the number-wise I executed. I hit the ball really solid, but I just pulled it way left of my target. But yeah, I was just trying to hit my target about 7-8 yards right of the pin and let it feed in there. And once it started going left with the wind off the right, it was never going to come back. So yeah, it was an unfortunate time for a bad swing, but thankfully it didn't hurt me.
What was the distance? What was the block?
It was there's a few numbers we got: hole number, carry number, and then I don't know. I think the hole was 180-ish, 85 maybe. 80, yeah, something like that. 8 iron. Yeah, I was trying to pitch it about 7 yards short of the pin and right of it.
Matt, right under the light here.
For those of us who will never get in that type of zone you were in through 17 holes, what was that just like, shot after shot, racking birdie after birdie up as you're going through that round?
It was crazy because you just you don't want to think about it too much because you don't want to lose the feeling. But yeah, I mean, I was hitting the ball really well. I don't think the ball striking was as out of this world as the putting. The putting was just phenomenal. I was reading the greens really well. Some really tough putts that I put a good read on, and was just locked in on my speed and my line.
Can you remember the last time you were that dialed in, locked in like that?
Maybe Friday. I got pretty hot on Friday too, so yeah, it happened twice this week probably. But yeah, probably not quite as locked in as I was today, but yeah, it doesn't happen very often. So when it does, you just got to kind of go with it.
Craig?
I just want to get this lady some exercise. Sepp, growing up, did you envision yourself sitting in the winner's circle for a second time? And what are your expectations? I mean, how do you view yourself in the PGA Tour, Pantheon, the Spectrum? You feel like you can compete with anybody out here?
Yeah, I think so. I think one thing I've tried to work on a lot and have done a better job of is being more consistent in my practice and that translating into tournaments. But at my best, I do feel like I can compete with anybody. Obviously, the last 3 days I could have competed with just about anybody in the world. But growing up, I never would have thought I would have a chance to even play on the PGA Tour. This is all just a big dream come true. I never really had a whole lot of confidence in myself growing up. I always was around really good players. My brother was a little better than me. My class in high school was full of really good players. So I never really had a lot of success early on, and never would have even dreamt of playing here, let alone winning twice on the PGA Tour.
Going forward, knowing your Thursday round and where you're sitting right now, how will that help you in the tournaments down the road, knowing maybe a shaky start, but just stay at it?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you play a tournament, you get in contention, you find out something new, and that experience is invaluable. So just knowing that, I was in 130-something place after the first round and ended up winning, you just can't ever really count yourself out because you could just get hot any moment.
All good. All right. We've